We dig deep into coins that might just turn your pocket change into a fortune. Today, we're diving into one penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yep, you heard me right. One tiny little 1989 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could put you in the millionaires club. No joke. So if you've ever found a penny on the street and tossed it aside thinking it was just another piece of copper, stick around because that little disc might be your ticket to a golden future, or at least a very cool story to tell at your next barbecue. Before we get into the juicy details about why this particular penny is worth more than some people make in a year, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You don't want to miss out on more crazy coin stories and money-making tips that could turn your next pocket change into serious cash. Alright, let's get started. Okay, let's start with the basics. The 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. If you're not a coin nerd yet, that means it's a penny made in 1989 that doesn't have the little letter showing which U.S. Mint facility produced it. Usually, pennies have a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But this one doesn't have either. And that little detail is what makes it insanely valuable. You might be thinking, how can a penny that's barely over 30 years old be worth over $1 million? Well, it all comes down to rarity, mistakes, and a little bit of coin magic. See, in 1989, pennies were supposed to be minted in Philadelphia with a P or in Denver with a D. But somehow, a handful of pennies slipped through the system without any mint mark at all. That means the 1989 no-mint Mark penny is a super rare error coin. Collectors go nuts for mistakes like this because rarity plus demand equals value that can skyrocket. Now, before you rush to dig through your couch cushions, I have a little story to share about how I almost missed a fortune myself. A few years ago, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. We found an old jar full of pennies that had been sitting there for decades. Naturally, I started flipping through them, half expecting to find maybe a shiny quarter or two. Then, out of nowhere, I spotted a 1989 penny without any mint mark. I thought, okay, that's odd, but probably just a normal penny. But something told me to Google it. Turns out, that little penny was worth over $1 million. Now imagine my excitement. The only problem? My dad had already given the jar to a local charity. Classic, right? So yeah, sometimes the coin treasure hunt can be a wild ride filled with what-if moments. But it also taught me one thing: never underestimate the value of what's hiding in plain sight. Back to our penny. Because it's so rare, it's become a hot ticket item in the coin collecting world. The current market value is hovering around $1.2 million, which blows the mind for a coin you could hold between your fingers. But how do you know if your penny is the real deal or just another piece of copper? Well, experts say the first step is to look closely for that missing mint mark. You want a clean 1989 penny with absolutely no letter under the date. And because these pennies are so rare, they usually come with a certificate of authenticity from a reputable coin grading service. If you ever find one, the best advice is to have it professionally graded and appraised. The last thing you want to do is sell it on a whim to someone who doesn't know what they're looking at. Now, you might be wondering how these coins get their value confirmed. Coin grading is basically a system that measures the coin's condition, from poor to perfect mint state. The better the condition, the higher the value. So a no-mint Mark penny in pristine condition could fetch that $1 million price tag, while a worn one might be worth a lot less. Also, keep in mind that the coin market can be a bit like a roller coaster. Prices can go up and down depending on collector demand and economic factors. So if you do have one of these pennies, you might want to keep an eye on the market or consult a coin expert before making any big moves. Abraham Lincoln has been on the penny since 1909, which was the centennial of his birth. So when you hold a penny, you're holding a little piece of American history. And if you happen to have this rare 1989 no-mint Mark penny, you're holding a piece of history that could also pay for a sweet vacation, or maybe even a new car. Speaking of vacation, let me tell you about the time I went on a trip with a few lucky coin finds in my pocket. I didn't have $1 million penny, but I had some decent coins that I sold to cover a weekend getaway. So yeah, coin collecting isn't just about hoarding. It can actually open doors and fund some fun moments. So there you have it, folks, the story of the 1989 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. a tiny coin with a massive $1.2 million value. It's proof that sometimes, the smallest things can pack the biggest punch. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into coin lore, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way about coins that could turn your change into serious cash. And hey, if you ever find a penny that looks a little different, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, you might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a weird or valuable coin, or if you want me to cover any other rare coin stories. Hey there, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket that could make you richer than your wildest dreams. No, I'm not joking. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that sounds super ordinary but hides a secret treasure inside, the 1995 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You heard that right, a humble penny worth a staggering $1.3 million in today's market. Crazy, right? Stick around, because I'm going to share the story behind this penny, why it's worth a fortune, and some insider tips on how you might spot one yourself. Plus, I'll throw in a little story from my own coin collecting adventures that'll make you laugh and maybe even inspire you to check your own change a bit more carefully. So if you love the thrill of finding coins worth serious cash or just want to impress your friends with some cool coin facts, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. The 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny might look like any penny you find stuck to the bottom of your shoe, but this little guy is a rare gem. Normally, pennies from 1995 will have a tiny mint mark, a letter stamped on the coin showing where it was made. Usually, that's a P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. But the no-mint mark pennies from 1995 are super rare because by then, almost every penny was marked. No mint mark means this penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint without the usual P stamp, and that's a huge deal for collectors. Because coins without mint marks from this era had very limited circulation, meaning fewer of them survived, especially in pristine condition. When collectors hunt for coins, rarity and condition are king. And the 1995 no-mint mark penny ticks both boxes. If it's in excellent shape, you're looking at a coin that can fetch up to $1.3 million on the market. Yep, a single penny could pay off your car loan, your student loans, or maybe even fund a dream vacation. But hold on, it's not just about rarity. These pennies have a cool story tied to them. In 1995, the Philadelphia Mint was going through some changes, and some no-mint mark pennies slipped through the cracks, creating an unintentional rarity. It's like finding a secret menu item at your favorite fast food place that only a few people know about, except this one could put a serious dent in your savings account. Okay, quick personal story time. A few years back, I was casually digging through a jar of pennies I'd been saving. I wasn't expecting much, just a bunch of old coins for my coin sorter to chew through. Then, bam, I spotted a penny that looked a bit off. No mint mark. My heart started racing like I just found a golden ticket in a chocolate bar. I ran it to the internet, cross-checked everything, and while mine wasn't the 1995 no mint mark, because honestly, those are crazy rare, it got me hooked on hunting rare pennies. That moment changed how I looked at coins forever. Suddenly, every penny had a story, a chance to be valuable, and maybe just maybe a secret fortune. First, look for that missing mint mark on the front, near Lincoln's bust. The coin should say 1995 but no little P or D or S next to the date. Next, check the condition. The better the condition, the higher the price. Coins that look brand new, without scratches, dents, or discoloration, are the ones hitting those million-dollar marks. Now, I have to be honest here. Most people won't find one of these in their couch cushions. The 1995 no-mint mark penny is like a unicorn in the coin world, rare and magical. But hey, that doesn't mean you shouldn't check. You never know what you might find in your coin jar, your grandma's old purse, or even at your local thrift store. For collectors, these coins are a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Coins aren't just money, they're history, art, and sometimes a literal jackpot. Let's talk market value. Right now, the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is valued at about $1.3 million, depending on its condition. That price fluctuates as coins are bought and sold, but it's been climbing steadily. Collectors and investors see these coins as a solid investment because their rarity and demand keep growing. Think of it like vintage sneakers or rare baseball cards, but much smaller and with a lot more history. If you want to get into coin collecting or investing, my advice is to start small. Learn about the coins in your pocket, hit up local coin shows, and connect with other collectors. There's a whole community out there filled with people just as passionate as you are. Plus, it's a fun way to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. The 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may look like a humble coin, but it's actually a $1 million treasure if you know what to look for. Whether you're a serious collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, keep your eyes peeled. That little penny could be your ticket to a fortune, and remember, coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the stories behind each coin, and the fun of finding a hidden gem in a pile of change. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money. I've got tons more content coming your way to help you become a savvy coin collector and maybe even make some serious cash along the way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check your change. Who knows, that next penny might just change your life. We dig up hidden gold right from your pocket change. Today, I'm about to blow your mind with a penny. Yep, you heard that right, a humble little penny. But not just any penny, the 1996 Lincoln penny, which, believe it or not, can be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million in today's market. Now, before you go scrambling through your couch cushions and piggy banks, hold on just a second. I'll explain why this ordinary-looking penny is actually a gold mine disguised as pocket lint. And trust me, after this video, you might never look at pennies the same way again. So buckle up, grab a snack, and let's get into the wild world of coin collecting where even the smallest coin can make you a millionaire. Alright, let's start with some background on the 1996 Lincoln penny. It's part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that's been around since 1909. You probably have a bunch of these pennies lying around, right? I know I do. I'm pretty sure I have a jar full of them that's been collecting dust since college. So what makes this particular penny so special? The D mint mark means it was minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's key locations. But what really sets this coin apart is a rare minting error that happened that year, making it one of the most sought-after Lincoln pennies ever. You see, during the minting process, some pennies got struck in a way that created an error. Sometimes it's a double die, sometimes a misprint, or an off-center strike. For the 1996 penny, it's a specific type of mint error that coin experts go crazy over. Now, errors like these are the holy grail in coin collecting. They're like finding a typo in a billion-dollar manuscript. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's a collector's dream. Because of that rarity, these pennies have skyrocketed in value, and some have recently sold for as high as $1.4 million. It sounds too good to be true. But remember, coin collecting isn't just about shiny metal, it's about history, rarity, and a little bit of luck. Speaking of luck, let me tell you a quick story from my own coin hunting adventures. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through a vendor's box of old coins. I was half-heartedly flipping through them, just killing time, when I spotted a penny that looked a little off. The color was slightly different, and the design seemed a bit doubled. I got excited and asked the vendor if I could take a closer look. Turns out, it was a rare error penny, not quite the 1996 but close enough to get me hooked on coin errors. I bought it for a few bucks, and after some research, I realized it was worth a couple thousand. That moment hooked me for life, because it proved that coins in your pocket or at your local flea market might just be tiny treasure chests waiting to be discovered. And that's the magic of coin collecting, that rush of spotting something rare, knowing you found a secret gem. First, check the mint mark, the little D on the penny's face near Lincoln's shoulder. Next, examine the details on Lincoln's bust and the wheat stalks on the back. if it's a wheat penny; if not, focus on the standard design. The error shows up as a doubling effect, almost like the coin got stamped twice but not quite aligned. This double die error creates thickened lines on the date and on Lincoln's profile. Now, identifying these errors requires a keen eye or a good magnifying glass. And maybe some patience. If you're serious, invest in a decent loupe or microscope designed for coin inspection. The hobby is half about detective work, half about history. Also, keep in mind condition matters. Even a rare error penny won't fetch millions if it's worn down or damaged. The best condition coins, graded by professional services, get the highest prices. So, what's the current market value of this coin? As I mentioned, top-grade 1996 D error pennies have recently sold at auctions for about $1.4 million. That's a hefty price for a coin most people toss in their jars without a second thought. If you find one in good shape, it's worth getting it authenticated by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They verify the coin's authenticity and grade its condition, making it easier to sell or insure. Never clean your coins. I learned this the hard way. When I was a kid, I thought I was doing my pennies a favor by scrubbing them with soap and water. Nope. Turns out, cleaning pennies can seriously reduce their value. So, leave them as is, imperfections and all. To wrap up the body, remember that coin collecting is as much about the story behind the coin as it is about the coin itself. The 1996 D Lincoln penny's value isn't just in its metal or mint mark but in the rarity and the stories collectors tell. Each coin is a little piece of history you can hold in your hand. Alright, folks, if you're still with me, now you know why that little 1996 D Lincoln penny could be your ticket to $1 million treasure. Next time you're digging through your change, take a closer look. You might just be holding a gold mine in your hand. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the coolest penny stories ever, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on future tips about coins worth money and clever strategies to grow your collection. Trust me, we've got more amazing stories and hidden coin secrets coming your way, and you don't want to miss them. Also, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you want me to cover any specific coin or mint error. Let's make this channel the best place for coin hunters and collectors to share stories, tips, and laughs. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk by, look closely. That little guy might just make you a millionaire. We dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, especially those little treasures that can actually make you rich. Today, I've got a story that'll blow your mind and maybe your piggy bank too. Imagine holding in your hand a humble penny, yes, that tiny copper coin we usually toss in the couch cushions or leave behind in vending machines, and discovering it's worth a whopping $1.5 million. No joke. Today, we're talking about the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's basically the unicorn of pennies. Stick around because I'm going to share the crazy history behind this coin, how to spot one if you're lucky enough to have one lurking in your change jar, why it's worth so much, and a funny story from my own coin collecting adventures that might just save you from throwing away your own treasure. If you love discovering coins worth serious cash and want to learn the best tips and tricks to spot these gems, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Alright, let's get into it. First off, what is a 1971 no-mint mark penny? Well, most coins have a tiny letter stamped on them that shows where they were minted. Philly coins? No mint mark. Denver? That's a D. San Francisco gets an S. But the 1971 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is special because almost all pennies in 1971 were minted in Philly, and that's why they don't have a mint mark. You might be thinking, wait, so it's just a regular penny then? Here's where it gets interesting. Most 1971 pennies are worth face value, basically 1 cent. But a few incredibly rare ones, including the no-mint mark variety with a particular error or unique characteristic, can fetch a jaw-dropping $1.5 million today. These pennies stand out because of subtle differences, maybe a double die, a misstrike, or some other mint error that makes them super rare and extremely valuable to collectors. Now, why exactly is this penny worth $1.5 million? You're probably picturing some gold coin or a rare silver dollar, but this penny has qualities that make it one of the rarest modern US coins in existence. For starters, very few of these era pennies survived in good condition because pennies get tossed around, spent, and scratched up like crazy. Plus, the 1971 no-mint mark penny with the specific error is an extremely rare find. The rarity combined with strong collector demand drives its price through the roof. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is $1 million prize and the haystack is your grandma's cookie jar full of pennies. Now, I'm not saying you should rush to empty every piggy bank or purse looking for this coin, but knowing what to look for can save you a ton of regret. Look closely at the penny's date and absence of mint mark. Then check for unusual doubling on the date or Lincoln's face. That's a sign of a double die error. Mint errors can also show as weird bumps, extra metal, or strange lines. If you spot anything odd, don't toss it. Get it checked by a professional coin grader or collector. A penny that looks like your everyday pocket change could be the treasure you never expected. Alright, let me share a quick personal story that's kind of embarrassing but totally relevant. A few years ago, I was digging through an old jar of coins I found buried in my parents' attic. I was just looking for some spare change when I noticed a penny that looked a bit different. The date was 1971, no mint mark, and the face of Lincoln seemed a little off, like it had a tiny shadow or doubling effect. I got super excited, thinking I just stumbled on $1 million penny. I ran it to a coin shop, only to be told it was a common error, worth about $5. Still cool, but not quite the jackpot I was dreaming of. Later, I realized my enthusiasm was a good lesson. Even the pros have to double-check everything. Never underestimate the value of coins, but also don't jump to conclusions without expert advice. And always hold on to those old pennies. You never know when you might strike gold. Right now, the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny with the rare error can sell for up to $1.5 million if it's in top condition and authenticated by experts. That's crazy when you consider a penny's face value is just 1 cent. It's like the ultimate underdog story. Coins like this remind us that history, rarity, and demand combine to create amazing value in unexpected places. It's also a reminder to treasure the small things, literally. The fascinating story of the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny copper coin that can be worth a fortune if you're lucky enough to find one. If you ever stumble upon a 1971 penny that looks a little off, don't toss it in the charity box or use it to scratch a lottery ticket. Get it checked out, and who knows? Maybe you'll be holding $1 million coin without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more tips on finding coins worth money, cool stories, and strategies to build your coin collection with confidence, hit that subscribe button now. Join our community of coin hunters and treasure seekers. I promise, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we keep uncovering the secret value hiding in plain sight, one coin at a time. Hey there, coin lovers and treasure hunters. What if I told you that a little copper disc you might have tossed aside could be worth over $1.5 million? Yep, I'm talking about the 1978 Lincoln penny, not just your everyday pocket change but a potential goldmine in disguise. Stick around because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story behind this tiny titan of the coin world and how you might already be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Now, before you rush to grab every penny on the street, let me share a quick story from my own coin collecting adventures that might just make you laugh, or cry, but most importantly, it'll remind you why keeping an eye on those little coins can pay off big time. Alright, let's get into it. The 1978 Lincoln penny isn't just any penny. Minted in Denver, this copper beauty has caught the attention of collectors and investors because of a rare error that makes some of these coins worth a staggering $1.6 million. That's right, a penny worth more than most cars out there. So what makes the 1978 penny so valuable? It all boils down to a rare minting error known as the double die. This means that when the coin was struck, the design was stamped twice slightly off register, creating a doubled image effect, especially noticeable on the date and the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Errors like these are like finding a typo in a first edition of a famous book. Collectors go wild for them because they're so rare. Now, I remember one time I was rummaging through a jar of old coins my grandma gave me. I wasn't expecting much, just some sentimental clutter. But as I was sorting through, I spotted something odd on one penny. It looked like it had a double date, and my heart skipped a beat. After some frantic Google searching and a few calls to coin experts, it turned out to be a 1978 D double die Lincoln penny. That moment? Priceless. It felt like I'd struck gold, or well, copper worth a small fortune. But hold on, before you start hunting through every penny jar you own, let me throw a little reality check your way. Not every 1978 D penny is worth millions. The coin has to be in near-perfect condition, we're talking flawless, with sharp details and no wear. These error coins are incredibly rare because most pennies in circulation take a beating. That means this $1.6 million price tag applies only to the very best of the best. Well, first things first, grab a good magnifying glass. Look closely at the date and the inscriptions. If you see that doubled effect, you've probably got something special. Next, check the coin's condition. If it looks beat up, it's not going to be worth the millions. And lastly, if you think you found one, don't just pop it on eBay and hope for the best. Get it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service. They'll authenticate the coin and assign a grade that impacts its value. Pennies like the 1978 D Lincoln are not just valuable because of errors. They're also a cool piece of American history. Honest Abe has been on the penny since 1909, and the 1978 version has a little extra charm thanks to its unique place in minting history. Now, let me tell you about a friend of mine, Joe. Joe once found a 1978 D penny while fishing coins out of an old collection at his local flea market. He almost tossed it back because he thought it was just a dirty penny. But something made him look closer. After sending it off for grading, Joe's penny turned out to be one of these rare error coins worth 6 figures. He still jokes that he should have quit his day job and opened a penny-finding business. Moral of the story: never underestimate the little guys. Sometimes, pennies can change your life. If you're a coin collector, or even if you just have a random jar of pennies gathering dust somewhere, it's worth taking a closer look. That 1978 D Lincoln penny could be your ticket to $1 million payday. Remember, condition is king, and knowing what to look for can turn you into the hero of your own coin story. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable pennies and want more tips on finding coins worth money, strategies to grow your collection, and stories that bring coins to life, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of treasure hunters and coin lovers who are turning pocket change into real change every day. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next lucky penny might just be hiding in plain sight. Stay curious, keep hunting, and I'll see you in the next video. I've got a story that might just change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Imagine this: you're digging through an old jar of pennies and BAM. You pull out a coin worth $1.7 million. Sounds like a movie plot, right? Well, it's actually happened for some lucky folks with the 1988 D Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right, the humble Lincoln penny, the one we all grew up dropping in fountains and ignoring at the bottom of our couch cushions, can be worth over $1 million. So today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1988 D Lincoln penny, how it got so valuable, what to look for, and why you should keep your eyes peeled next time you find a penny on the street. Stick around, because if you love coins or just like hearing stories about people accidentally becoming millionaires, you're going to want to hear this. Alright, let's kick this off by talking about the basics. The 1988 D Lincoln penny is a United States 1-cent coin minted in Denver. The D is for Denver, just in case you thought it stood for dynamite. Spoiler alert, it kind of is, but for coin collectors. So, why is this particular penny worth a staggering $1.7 million? It all comes down to rarity and a tiny error that makes it a collector's dream. You see, in 1988, most pennies were pretty normal, but a small batch had an unusual minting error that made them practically unique. Let me break down the factors that make this penny so valuable. First, there's the mint mark itself. The Denver mint mark on this coin can sometimes appear doubled or misplaced, creating what collectors call a double die error. Errors like this mean the coin was struck twice or the die shifted during minting, creating that extra design that stands out when you look closely. To give you a better picture, imagine your favorite t-shirt accidentally printed with a second logo overlapping the first. Now it's a limited edition shirt nobody else has. Same concept with this penny, but it's not just the double die error that makes this coin special. The condition matters a lot. These pennies are tiny, and most people toss them in jars or wallets without a second thought, meaning most coins out there are scratched, worn, or just plain ugly. But the ones that have been preserved well with sharp details and no damage are the golden tickets. Now, a little story for you. A few years ago, I was visiting my grandma, and she handed me this old jar filled with pennies she'd saved from the 80s and 90s. I figured, why not, and started flipping through them, half expecting to find some cool coins. Then, out of nowhere, I spotted a 1988 penny with a weird double D mark. I thought, that looks off. So I googled it, and sure enough, that coin was worth way more than I ever imagined. I had this mix of disbelief and excitement, like I'd just found a tiny treasure hidden in plain sight. So yeah, the moral of the story is, don't underestimate the coins your family might have been stashing away for years. Okay, so how do you know if your 1988 D Lincoln penny is the real deal and not just a regular coin? First, check the mint mark under a magnifying glass. Look for doubling or weird spacing. Then, check the overall condition. Does it still have that coppery shine, or is it beat up from decades of circulation? Another tip is to listen to the sound. I know it sounds crazy, but some collectors say the way the coin sounds when dropped on a hard surface can indicate its metal quality and condition. Give it a little tap if you want to impress your friends. Now, if you do find a potential $1 million penny, don't just go waving it around or trying to sell it at a garage sale. Get it appraised by a professional coin grading service first. They'll confirm if it's genuine and grade its condition, which directly affects the value, and let me tell you, the market for rare coins has been heating up recently. People have been investing in coins like never before. This penny's current market value is about $1.7 million, but as with any collectible, prices can fluctuate based on demand and rarity. So there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1988 D Lincoln penny and how a little coin you probably ignore every day could be worth a small fortune. Remember, the key is knowing what to look for, the mint mark, any errors, and condition. If you liked this story and want more tips on spotting coins that could be worth a ton of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next time I uncover hidden coin gems that might be sitting in your pocket or attic. And hey, next time you find a penny on the ground, give it a second glance. You might just be holding your own jackpot. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Drop a comment if you have any crazy coin stories or questions, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, keep those eyes sharp and those coins close. If you want, I can help you break down the script into more detailed sections or even add timestamps for each part to help with pacing.